physical connection than anybody had ever imagined.
Yeah, because I'm not someone who goes around.
Welcome back to Brown House Secrets, the channel where we pull back the curtain on the drama, the betrayals, and the truths the cameras never wanted you to see. If you think you've seen everything Sister Wives has to offer, think again. Because tonight, we are stepping into the most carefully orchestrated stunt in reality TV history, a PR rescue mission for Kody Brown. And let me warn you, it's not just failing, it's exploding. Opening emotional hook, you know that feeling when you're at a party, and everyone else seems to be laughing louder, smiling brighter, almost like they're trying to prove they're having more fun than you? That's the energy swirling around Kody Brown right now. This divorce, this family collapse, it hasn't felt like maturity or healing. It's felt like high school drama. A teenage I don't like you anymore, and you don't like me. A civil war within one family, one household, one show. And now? That civil war has spilled onto the screens of millions of Sister Wives fans. But the bigger shock is what's happening behind those screens, because if the inside rumors are true, we are not just watching a family fracture. We're witnessing one of the most expensive attempts at image repair in reality TV history. The big question, so let me ask you this, how does a man who once waved off his wife's pain like it didn't matter, suddenly start speaking with calm words, reflective thoughts, and even owning up to his role in hurting them? This is the same Kody Brown who told Christine to just get over it when she begged for recognition. Now suddenly, he's on camera standing face to face with David Woolley, Christine's new partner, and having what looks like a respectful, even genuine conversation. Is this real growth? Or is this scripted redemption? Because longtime fans aren't buying it. Facebook groups, forums, online communities are filled with posts like, "Who is this man, and where's the real Kody?" Women who've watched him deflect blame for a decade know this doesn't add up. And when you start pulling the thread, the unraveling is shocking. The alleged PR fix begins. The truth is, this new Kody didn't appear overnight. If you've been watching closely, he's been rebranding himself piece by piece over the last 8 months. Slowly, subtly, carefully, just enough to make it look natural, but not so much that fans don't notice. And here's the kicker, insiders say it wasn't therapy. It wasn't personal reflection. It wasn't faith. It was professionals. Not professionals in healing, professionals in reputation management. Crisis managers. Image polishers. The people Hollywood stars call when a scandal threatens to end their careers. The people who don't fix your soul, but fix how your soul appears to the public. And it makes sense, doesn't it? Sister Wives isn't just a family anymore. It's a corporation. A brand. And Kody isn't just a husband and father, he's a public figure whose reputation has been shredded. So what do you do when your show is still filming, but your lead man has become the villain that fans despise? You rebuild him. But this is where it gets fascinating. Because once you know the formula, you start to see the pattern everywhere. The reputation repair formula. Step 1, apologize, without really apologizing. Say sorry for how people felt, but never admit to anything that could hurt you in court. Step 2, show growth through handpicked public moments. Controlled interviews. Softened tones. Carefully framed scenes where you appear remorseful. Step 3, inject new positive storylines. Bond with David Woolley. Praise Christine. Talk about the possibility of another sister wife. Appear generous, tolerant, and open. Step 4, give the audience what they've been demanding. Fans say they want apologies? Film a montage of apologies. Fans wonder how Kody will deal with Christine's boyfriend. Suddenly, we've got sit-downs. Fans joke about him adding another wife? Boom, it becomes a storyline. It's like someone handed TLC a playbook titled, How to Fix a Reality TV Villain in 10 Easy Moves. Month-by-month breakdown, let's rewind the clock. About 8 months ago, right when season 19 wrapped, the transformation began. Kody disappeared from social media, a necessary detox. His silence protected him from saying the wrong thing and digging his hole deeper, while Christine, Janelle, and Mary thrived online with their own projects. Then suddenly, like a switch flipped, Kody reappeared. But not the same man. This time, he was smiling softer. Speaking slower. Showing up in staged environments where his temper wouldn't explode. Insiders believe this was the exact moment the crisis team took over. And from there, the steps rolled out like clockwork: apologies, rehearsed, repeated, repackaged for TV. Forgiveness scenes, especially with Christine and David, crafted for maximum optics. Special Forces cameo, an environment where he could look tough but vulnerable, without the family conflict that made him so hated. The fourth wife storyline, perfectly timed to prove Kody is still desirable, still in demand, still the patriarch of a family worth watching. Coincidence? Or strategy? The HBO Max scandal, but wait, it goes even deeper. Because just as this new Kody was rolling out, something strange happened. Fans logging onto HBO Max noticed entire seasons of Sister Wives were gone. Not broken. Not delayed. Deleted. Specifically? Seasons 2, 3, and 4. And if you know your Sister Wives history, you know those were the seasons that exposed Kody at his worst. The messy Vegas move. The blatant favoritism toward Robyn. The financial chaos. The unraveling of trust among the wives. Those seasons were receipts. A record of who Kody really was when the cameras weren't polishing him. And suddenly, right as the PR overhaul begins, those receipts vanish? Fans aren't stupid. Forums lit up with outrage, accusing TLC of erasing history. One fan wrote, "I was showing my sister why Christine left, but now the worst seasons are gone. It feels like rewriting history in real time." Another said, "Convenient, isn't it, that the controlling Kody years disappear just as he's selling himself as reformed?" And whether it's true or not, the perception is damning. The insider whispers, here's where it gets chilling. Insiders, people working directly on set, confirm that season 20 doesn't feel like past seasons. It feels scripted. Structured. Planned. Before, filming was chaotic. Kody rambled. He ignored direction. He blew up and derailed entire shoots. Now, he arrives with talking points. He follows cues. He plays the role. And off camera? Those same insiders say he doesn't feel changed. He feels calculated. Performing. Acting. As one crew member allegedly put it, it's like night and day. Before, we filmed Kody being Kody. Now, we film Kody playing good Kody. The hook to next part, so let's ask the real question, is Kody Brown actually changing? Or are we watching the most expensive mask in reality TV history? And if this is a mask, what happens when it slips? Because fans aren't fooled forever. And this time, the cracks are already showing. The childishness of it all, there's a certain kind of immaturity that lingers in the air whenever the Brown family fractures are on display. Divorce, in most families, is devastating, yes. But it's usually wrapped in grief, in tears, in regret. Here, it often feels like something else entirely, something almost juvenile. When Kody himself admitted that the divorce battles have felt like teenage drama, "I don't like you anymore, you don't like me anymore," he wasn't exaggerating. This has been less like a family restructuring and more like a civil war staged in high school hallways, where sides are drawn, whispers travel fast, and no one walks away unscathed. Civil war. That's the phrase Kody used. And in many ways, it fits. Because inside this family's broken pieces, loyalties have shifted, alliances formed, and each new season feels like another battle in a war where no one actually wins. But underneath that childish surface, something more sinister has been brewing. A strategy. A shift. A deliberate attempt to reshape the battlefield, not by fixing the wounds, but by controlling the narrative about those wounds. The man who changed overnight, or did he? If you've watched Kody Brown for years, you know the patterns. Defensive. Combative. Quick to blame anyone but himself. Christine would cry, beg for recognition, tell him she felt invisible, and his answer would be dismissive, just get over it. That was Kody. That was the man fans grew to resent. So when viewers suddenly saw him standing in front of Christine's new husband, David Woolley, speaking softly, listening, engaging in what appeared to be a calm, civil conversation, jaws dropped. This wasn't just surprising. It was unrecognizable. This wasn't the man who once told Janelle her kids didn't matter as much as Robyn's. This wasn't the man who ignored Gabriel's heartbreak when he forgot his birthday. This was someone else. And fans began asking the only question that made sense: is this real? Or is this rehearsed? Because if you've spent more than a decade watching Kody Brown, you know that kind of transformation doesn't come naturally. It doesn't arrive overnight. And it certainly doesn't arrive without pressure. The quiet arrival of professionals, the rumor mill, the insider whispers, the leaks from people close to the show, they all point to the same conclusion. Kody didn't wake up one morning a changed man. He hired help. Not therapy help. Not spiritual help. Not marital help. Professional help. The kind of professionals who don't heal families, but polish reputations. The kind who are called when a celebrity has been caught in scandal, when an actor's name is trending for all the wrong reasons, when a politician is at risk of losing their entire career. Crisis managers. Image doctors. Reputation repair experts. Their job isn't to help you become a better person. Their job is to help you appear to be a better person. And when you look at the timeline, when you really examine it, the puzzle pieces snap together. The formula of reputation repair, there's a formula to this kind of work, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Step 1. Craft the apology. Not a raw, messy apology that admits too much, but a clean, calculated one that makes the audience feel seen, while protecting the speaker from liability. You say, "I'm sorry you felt hurt," instead of "I hurt you." You express regret for the outcome, without taking full responsibility for the action. Step 2. Engineer the redemption arc. You don't wait for real-life growth. You manufacture it through controlled environments. Public sit-downs, carefully staged conversations, a tone of contrition that can be switched on and off depending on who's in the room. Step 3. Flood the story with positive optics. Have Kody talk respectfully with David Woolley. Have him praise Christine's new life. Have him seem tolerant, even supportive, of the very changes he once resisted. Step 4. Align the storyline with fan demands. Fans say they want apologies? Roll the cameras. Fans wonder how Kody will react to David. Roll the cameras. Fans joke about whether he'll take another wife? Roll the cameras. Suddenly, the very things fans cry about online become storylines in the show. As if the show is reading the comments section and responding with a script. This isn't coincidence. This is orchestration. The timeline of a transformation: 8 months. That's how long this has been in motion. When season 19 wrapped, Kody vanished from social media. He went radio silent. Meanwhile, Christine's Instagram glowed with joy. Janelle was thriving in her health and independence. Mary was building her businesses, showing fans her resilience. And Kody? Quiet. Too quiet. Because every time he posted, the backlash was brutal. Every comment, every photo, every word brought a storm of criticism. But then, the silence broke. Slowly. Carefully. And when he reappeared, he wasn't the same man. He was softer. Gentler. Scripted. Fans thought maybe he'd had a change of heart. Maybe the divorce humbled him. But insiders saw something else, the fingerprints of a professional plan. From that moment forward, every step lined up with a PR formula, apologies, filmed and repeated until the words sounded rehearsed. Civil talks with David Woolley, the perfect I can be respectful narrative. Joining a special forces show, removing him from the family context where he looked toxic, and placing him in an environment where he could appear hardworking, vulnerable, even likable. Floating the fourth wife storyline, conveniently timed to make him look desirable again, even as 3 wives had walked away. When you trace the arc month by month, it doesn't look like growth. It looks like strategy. The erasure of history, but strategy doesn't stop with what you film. It also extends to what you erase. Because just as this new Kody was being unveiled, longtime viewers on HBO Max noticed something disturbing. Seasons 2, 3, and 4 of Sister Wives were missing. Gone. Deleted. Not broken, not delayed. Vanished. And those weren't random seasons. They were the ones that showed Kody at his most raw, his most reckless, his most damaging. Season 2, the chaos of moving to Vegas, where Kody's recklessness began to fracture stability. Season 3, the favoritism toward Robyn becoming impossible to ignore. Season 4, the financial strain, the growing resentment, the cracks that would eventually shatter the family. In other words, the receipts. The undeniable proof of who Kody was when the mask slipped. And now, just as a new mask is being fastened on, those seasons vanish. Fans erupted. Online forums filled with outrage. One longtime watcher said, "I was showing my sister why Christine left, and suddenly the key seasons are gone. It's like rewriting history in real time." Another added, "Convenient that the seasons with Kody at his worst disappear just as he's selling himself as reformed." Whether TLC pulled them for business reasons or something darker, the optics are damning. It feels like someone is scrubbing history clean, removing the evidence that contradicts the redemption narrative being sold. The new Kody on set, and then there's what's happening behind the cameras. Crew members who've worked with Kody for years describe a man who has flipped his entire approach. Before, he was unpredictable, combative, even obstructive. He'd derail shoots, ignore producers, rant and ramble in ways that made editing a nightmare. The manufactured mirror between fans and the show from multiple insiders close to the production. A disturbing revelation has come forward, one that could fundamentally change the way we look at Sister Wives. The allegation? That the Sister Wives team has discovered what might be the most powerful tool in reality television, a direct pipeline between the frustrations of fans online and the storylines manufactured for the cameras. Think about that for a moment. This isn't just listening to your audience. This isn't just browsing Twitter for feedback. This is something far more methodical, far more deliberate, and far more manipulative. It's as if the entire online world of Sister Wives fandom, the forums, the Reddit threads, the sprawling Facebook groups, the TikTok commentary, has been transformed into one massive, unpaid focus group. A test lab for what's going to be fed back to us, disguised as real life. The watchers becoming the writers' insiders claim that team members are reportedly monitoring these spaces with the same intensity that political campaigns monitor polling data. Imagine it, staff sitting behind screens, scanning endless Reddit chains, screenshotting fan theories, dissecting TikTok stitches, combing through long rants from women who have watched this family crumble for 14 years. They don't just see these comments as chatter, they see them as scripts. And then the uncanny thing happens. Those very complaints, those exact fan curiosities, start reappearing on the show. Almost word for word. What viewers vent about online one month suddenly appears as a dramatic scene in the next batch of episodes. This is where the lines blur, because reality TV has always had a degree of planning, always had producers nudging stories along. But what's happening here, if true, is on another level. It's reactive storytelling in real time, a kind of manipulative dance where the audience unknowingly gives the creators the playbook for repairing Kody Brown's image. The engineered apologies for months, fans begged for one thing above all, authentic apologies. Not the half-hearted, dismissive lines we'd come to expect from Kody, the ones where he shifted blame, deflected, or outright denied wrongdoing. Fans wanted to see him own it. They wanted tears. They wanted contrition. They wanted to hear the words that Christine, Janelle, and Mary had deserved for years but never received. And suddenly, as if by magic, those apologies began appearing on camera. Not once. Not twice. But in carefully structured rounds. But here's the haunting thought: if those apologies weren't born from genuine reflection, if they weren't the result of late-night guilt or years of soul-searching, then what are they? They become empty, performative gestures, designed not to heal wounds but to silence complaints. Planned content that checks a box on a crisis manager's strategy sheet. That's not healing. That's acting. And worse, it's acting with the deliberate goal of fooling people who have already been hurt. The orchestrated meeting with David Woolley. Now let's talk about Christine's new husband, David Woolley. Fans knew this was the ultimate test. For years, they speculated online about how Kody would react. Would he rage? Would he lash out? Would he sneer about being replaced? Every corner of the sister wives community buzzed with predictions, most of them brutal. And then, the opposite happened. Instead of anger, we saw civility. Instead of bitterness, we saw a polite conversation. Kody, the man who had dismissed Christine's feelings for years, suddenly sat face to face with her new husband and treated him with respect. At first glance, it seemed like growth. But when you look at it through the lens of insider claims, it starts to feel like staging. If producers arranged that meeting, if Kody's demeanor was rehearsed, then what we saw wasn't maturity. It was an act. A carefully constructed scene designed to present him as a man who could rise above jealousy, even if his history told us otherwise. And if that's true, then it wasn't Christine and David having a human moment with Kody, it was Kody performing for redemption. The fourth wife rumors, hope or trick. Perhaps the clearest sign of this manipulation lies in the resurfacing of the fourth wife storyline. For over a year, fan forums have buzzed with speculation: will Kody and Robyn bring another woman into the family? Could they possibly rebuild what has crumbled by introducing someone new? Most dismissed it as idle gossip, the wishful musings of fans desperate for drama. After all, Kody himself had spent years complaining about how difficult it was to manage 4 wives. Why would he ever risk that chaos again? And yet, suddenly, the cameras capture Kody and Robyn having conversations about courting another woman. Conversations that just happen to surface at the exact moment Kody needs to look desirable again. At the exact moment fans are questioning why 3 women chose to leave him. At the exact moment TLC needs fresh storylines to keep the franchise alive. The timing is too neat. Too convenient. And it reeks not of reality, but of crisis management. Because in one storyline, Kody gets to prove he's still wanted. He gets to hint at his value as a partner. He gets to reinforce the image that his marriage to Robyn is strong enough to expand. And most importantly, he gets to rewrite the narrative that his inability to manage multiple marriages is what destroyed the family. Instead of being seen as the man who failed 3 wives, he's repositioned as the man brave enough to try again. That's not just storytelling. That's spin. The psychological manipulation of fans, and here's where this becomes truly sinister. When fans see their own complaints mirrored back to them on screen, it creates a powerful illusion. They feel heard. They feel included. They feel like their voices matter, like the producers and the Browns are listening to their concerns. But if the purpose of this mirroring isn't to create better television, and isn't to reflect reality, but instead to manipulate perceptions of Kody Brown, then fans are being tricked. Think about that: years of anger, years of calling out abuse, years of demanding accountability, all repackaged into storylines that appear to resolve those issues, but in truth only serve to rebuild the image of the very man fans are criticizing. It's not resolution. It's exploitation. Fans become unknowing accomplices in the rehabilitation of a reputation that, by all accounts, has not been earned. Their free feedback is weaponized against them, transforming outrage into redemption arcs. And if that doesn't shake your trust in reality TV, what will? A show that eats its own audience. This is why so many longtime viewers feel betrayed. Sister Wives was always supposed to be about showing the raw, messy, complicated reality of a polygamous family. But what's emerging now looks less like reality and more like a boardroom strategy. Every apology, every meeting, every storyline now has to be examined under suspicion. Was this a real moment? Or was this a scene engineered to silence complaints before they could spiral? The trust between viewer and show is cracking. And once that trust is broken, it rarely returns. Because the moment you realize you're not just watching a family, you're being manipulated by a production team using your own outrage to build scripts, you start questioning. Kody Brown's carefully orchestrated public relations stunt has not only failed, it has completely detonated in his face, leaving behind a storm of chaos, embarrassment, and backlash that no crisis team could contain. What was supposed to be a polished, damage control effort to repair his reputation and win sympathy has instead exposed him even further, showing the cracks in his strategy, the desperation in his actions, and the inability of his inner circle to manage the truth once it started pouring out. For years, fans of Sister Wives have watched Kody attempt to reshape the narrative, to present himself as the misunderstood patriarch simply doing his best. But this most recent PR move crossed the line from spin into spectacle, and the public saw right through it. Instead of generating empathy, it triggered outrage. Instead of silencing critics, it amplified them. Viewers who once gave him the benefit of the doubt are now dissecting every word, every gesture, and every behind-the-scenes maneuver, realizing just how far he has gone to control the story. The so-called crisis team meant to protect him only accelerated the collapse. Each statement they released felt hollow, each appearance rehearsed, each defense calculated, but none of it landed. The carefully chosen talking points only reminded people of his favoritism, his fractured family relationships, and the pain his wives and children have spoken about. The attempt at damage control backfired so massively that it has now become its own headline. Kody Brown is not the victim of bad press, but of his own choices finally catching up to him in full public view. What makes this moment so explosive is not just the stunt itself, but the timing. With the family already torn apart, with Garrison's passing still heavy on viewers' hearts, with Mary, Janelle, and Christine speaking their truths louder than ever, this PR move looked less like leadership and more like a desperate grasp at control. And audiences, sharper and more engaged than ever before, are no longer willing to accept his narrative without question. Instead of sympathy, Kody has ignited fury. Instead of healing his image, he has fractured it beyond repair. Fans are calling out the contradictions, former supporters